Hey guys, in the past few months I've been really thinking about, and I almost thought about making a list of all of the symptoms that I had throughout my ordeal. You know, I get pretty much 90% of my client calls, I get the question, did you deal with this? Did you deal with this? Did you deal with that? And 98% of the things that people talk about, I've actually dealt with. And I don't have any like symptom list on my website or on a YouTube video. And I wanted to go literally head to toe and talk about emotional and all of the planes of existence, talk about all of the symptoms that I dealt with during my mercury poisoning ordeal. Okay, so we're gonna start, and I literally have to think about it now. Like, I haven't pre-rehearsed this. You know, with my videos, I never I literally just thought of this 30 seconds ago. I was like, push the camera on, okay? So we're gonna start from toe up to head, okay? The first thing was that I had full body inflammation. So it was, and occasionally I'm still dealing with some levels of inflammation in my body, my joints, my neck, my shoulders, but this was a whole other level of inflammation. I mean, full body flu-like symptoms from head to toe. Every joint, every muscle felt like I just got ran over by a truck, or if I just ran a marathon the day before. Okay, and then we move up and we'll go, you know, nothing too crazy with the knees or the hips, and with the genitals. Okay, I had severe premature ejaculation and severe erectile issues. Okay, lack of sex drive, massive lack of sex drive. We keep going up, stomach. I had severe digestive issues. The digestive issues that I had, I've really only met a few clients who have had this level of digestive issues. Okay, we're talking about every single, let me take a pause and take my shirt off. Okay, digestive issues, we're talking about, you know, severe digestive issues. Like, we're talking about, like, okay, so this is what I used to do. I would stretch for 30 minutes and breathe, okay, and relax my nervous system. I had binaural beats on, and my phone was on airplane mode, and I had to make sure nobody was around me. Nobody could talk to me. Like, I was somewhere safe where no one can reach me. And then what I would do is I would take digestive bitters and digestive enzymes, and I would sit somewhere with good posture, really comfortable, and breathe. And I would start eating my food, and I would chew my food super thoroughly. Like, every single, like, I was literally breathing and eating and chewing and like praying and like talking to my body to digest, right? And this was something simple. Like, I'm taking for granted the fact that I had already followed all of the rules of trophology, which is food combining rules, not starch and a protein together. I wasn't eating two different kinds of meats. I was eating organic and clean and easily digestible food, and soaked and sprouted foods, and, you know, all of those parameters were in check. That's a given. And so I would sit and I would immediately experience bloating within 45 seconds of taking my first bite. And the bloating created horrible neurological symptoms, headache, brain fog. It created anxiety, created fear. It was just a vicious loop, honestly. And I would finish the meal. Sometimes I would stop eating, but I would finish the meal, and then my belly would I would just feel pregnant from whatever it was that I ate. It could have been as simple as a plantain that I chewed perfectly. And then, you know, most likely it wasn't until the following day that my stomach would actually reduce the bloating. Like, if that happened for morning breakfast, which was 95% of the time, occasionally I would eat a meal and it didn't bloat me, it wouldn't subside until the next day. And you got to understand, it was never just a bloating in the gut. My brain bloated too. And the place that I was at mentally, I was so scared and so twisted and tormented mentally that each time that happened, there was a whole plethora of anxiety and neuroses that kicked in. Okay. So if we keep moving up, of course, sore muscles, sore shoulder, sore neck, And then we get to the brain, which is, I can talk for 45 minutes about what my brain was going through. Oh, heart palpitations, severe anxiety, panic attacks. I mean, like, you know, like, I literally have to go there because I forget these portals. These portals have closed, but the portals, and I'm feeling them right now. I can taste them and smell them and experience fractions of them. And they were like dark, dark tunnels, like almost demonic tunnels of like death and decay and destruction and panic and despair and torture and darkness. Like everything was flavored with darkness. Everything, the trees, the grass, everything just had this tint of like death, honestly. And there are some symptoms I have never spoken about before, never. And I was talking to my friend the other day and telling, you know, he was talking about something and I was like, oh, I've experienced that. I was like, times 100. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, of course. And I won't go too much into them, but I experienced hallucinations. Mercury was so, my nervous system and my brain was so riddled with mercury that I was experiencing, this is gonna sound fucking crazy, but I would see monkeys everywhere. Like monkey faces, like weird, bizarre monkey faces that were like tormenting me. It was terrifying everywhere, in all the trees and plants and animals, on the walls. And it was just like some type of face that was just everywhere. And I would experience auditory, I would hear things. Things would whisper to me or say things to me. I would hear other people's voices in my head. The worst of all of the symptoms of everything that I dealt with, keep in mind, I wanted to kill myself, severe panic, severe anxiety. Nothing was as agonizing and scary as hearing things other than your own thoughts. There was nothing as terrifying as that. And had I had 1 ounce less of strength, I would have succumbed to that pathway and thought that I was fucked beyond repair, and I would have probably considered myself to be schizophrenic or whatever you want to call, whatever the label, you know. That's how intense it was. That's how terrifying it was. That's how much dogma and social stigma was ingrained in me, that if those things start happening, you're lost in the sauce. So, you know, I've never talked about this stuff, and maybe, hopefully it can help someone. If it can provide some relief to one of you, of the 24,000 of you that subscribe, then this video is worth it. And if people want to label me or judge me or whatever, you know, unsubscribe or whatever. No, I mean, I know people don't, whatever. There's just my own internal dilemma on talking about this stuff, right? I've always kept this very close to myself. So basically, okay, all of those things. What else? I mean, cabinets closing hurt my body and my brain. I would hold my breath when I was in the presence of someone else. It was like someone else, it was like, you know that feeling when you're on mushrooms and like you're looking at someone and you're like, oh my God, it's so intense to feel the presence of another human being. I was like that 24/7. I would just shake hands with someone and I would feel their energy fuse into my body, make me want to vomit. I would talk to somebody, or I was a caddy at a country club and I would caddy for them, and I was with them for 4.5 freaking hours, and I would hear their voice for the next 6 hours after that. It was like I could talk like them, act like them, it was like I was infused. It's like I had no energetic boundaries. I was just a blob of energy that just merged with everything that it came into contact with. And I would feel everything that someone else felt. If someone else was in pain and I was with them, within 10 seconds, I would just feel like them. It was like I lost my sense of self, and I would just feel, if they were tired, I'd be tired. If they were angry, I'd be angry. Everything that they felt, I would feel. Nausea, severe nausea, severe fear, severe terror. And by the way, this isn't only Mercury that did this to me. This is my huge epigenetic multi-lifetime wounds that Mercury exacerbated and almost pumped and fueled. It was like my wound is this ember, and you know, Mercury is like gasoline, right? Or a fire and gasoline. If you put gasoline on an ember, does it light? I don't even know. Right, so it's not just the Mercury here. You guys know my videos, it's never just the heavy metals. There's deep, deep, deep multi-generational, multi-lifetime wounds here that we are transcending. You never want to be too stuck in this plane. Always think big picture. You have a whole blueprint of wounds that you're overcoming. So, anyway, the list could go on and on and on. Dizziness, I would faint. In the jungle, I would faint regularly. I would get really dizzy when I stood up. If I stood up too quickly, this thing would happen where my whole brain would feel like I was rattling and shaking, and I would have to like go down and put my hands on the ground. Lightheadedness, severe fatigue, severe brain fog. I should look at a list of like Lyme symptoms, I guess, because Lyme can trigger anything. So, and it would just be all of them. Of course, it's no fun just to hear someone say brain fog. It's much more fun to hear them explain the depth of it. But so anyway, there's more. I could go on for 20 minutes about what I dealt with. But for every time someone asks me, hey, did you deal with this? Here's the video for you. I'm sending you to this video, or you're seeing this video, because I don't feel like answering that question anymore. Yes, I experienced it, probably times 2 or times 5 or times 10, and I can't say I can't say every single thing is gone. I still have tastes and flavors of many of these things. I have inflammation in my shoulders and neck. I have anxiety, right? I'm anxious often. Now, it's not the type of anxiety that I had before. I'm just anxious to become bigger, to become more successful, to make more money, to help more people, to own a huge compound one day. I'm anxious that I'm not living my purpose. I'm anxious that I'm not doing enough on this planet, okay? I experience pain, I experience sadness. All of these things, I still have not remnants, but flavors of all of these things, because they're part of the human experience. And it's the relationship to it that is the real crippling effect. It's not the symptom itself, it's the relationship to it. So people ask me, hey man, do you still feel like sadness? And I'm like, and when I'm on them with a coaching call, I'm like, yeah. And I know what they're thinking. They're wanting someone to be so purely healed on the other end of this, so that they can just have a line to follow and have someone a fishing line to grab onto to rescue them from the depths of hell. But the honest truth is, yes, I do. But guess what? It never carries the same amount of weight that it used to. It's the weight of it that it hurts, not the sadness itself. It's your relationship to it. It's the twisted, tormented thoughts you have around it that hurt. It's the feeling like it's all-encompassing, debilitating pain that hurts. It's not a wave of sadness that actually hurts. It's your reaction to it that hurts way, way, way more. Some of that reaction is choice, and some of that reaction is just your messed up biochemistry from all the toxicity. But it's not the removal of all symptoms that's the goal. It's to develop a harmonious relationship with life. Life includes all of this pain and hardship sometimes, and there's a ton of joy, and there's a ton of ease and comfort as well. So, you know, you don't need to find someone that is blissed out all the time, which hardly exists, and if they are, they're running away from something in order to follow a line, right? That's the trap of the sick mind. The trap of the sick mind will just dismiss everything if it's not, you know, enlightened. So my point is that when you're desperate, in that desperate place and trying to find out if anyone out there is symptom-free, guys, if they're symptom-free, they stop doing the work. They stop peeling the layers of the onion. And none of this stuff carries that type of doom and gloom weight. It simply is. It simply is. There's no story. There's no reaction. and sometimes there is, but most of the time there's no reaction to the pain. That is the most painful thing. Okay, so that's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed the show. I'm out. Peace.